Welcome to SVG-TV's news for Thursday, April 24th, 2025. I'm Triska Campbell with the details. Head of the Administrative Division of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force Superintendent Hesron Ballantyne told participants at a two-day witness care and risk assessment workshop, which commenced here on Wednesday, that such initiatives are not simply routine calendar events, but arise from a deeper recognition that something fundamental is missing in the traditional delivery of justice. That missing piece, he said, is the human soul of the justice system. The workshop forms part of a biannual criminal justice stakeholders reform initiative known as All Right, short for Applying Lawful Responses to Intercepting Gangsters, Hustlers, and Transgressors.
When we speak about witness care, we're not talking merely about protocols or paperwork. We are talking about people. People who have seen too much, who carry truths too dangerous to speak freely, and whose lives often hang in a balance between silence and justice. They are in every sense both the evidence and the cost of accountability. Let's be honest, the justice system can be cold. Its processes are rigid. Its timelines are long. And while officers and prosecutors and courts move on from one case to the next, the witness remains sometimes scared, often forgotten. This is what All Right represents to us. Not a slogan or another initiative on paper, but a shift in mindset, a deliberate effort to center care as a pillar of justice, not a footnote, to not just assess risk, but to understand it socially, psychologically, contextually, to not only protect lives, but to preserve the will to testify.
Pointing out that both the region and the wider world are constantly evolving, Superintendent Ballantyne noted in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, elsewhere, the rise in criminal networks, the increased threats via social media, and the public's eroding trust in justice institutions all signal that law enforcement must do more than merely enforce the law.
We must learn our own belief in it. That's where the logic comes from. If witnesses do not feel safe, colleagues, they will not speak. If they do not speak, we do not solve crimes. If we do not solve crimes, we do not deter them. And if we do not deter them, the very legitimacy of our justice system is under threat. So our investment in witness care isn't just compassionate, it's strategic. It is how we reinforce the reliability of our criminal justice process. It is how we close the credibility gap between communities and institutions. But this cannot be the burden of our agency alone. The police cannot build this bridge alone. The DPP's office cannot maintain it alone. It requires synchronization, interagency alignment, respect for each other's role and clarity in each other's function. Most importantly, it demands that we agree on one principle. And I want you to repeat this. Every witness matters. Can I hear you? Every witness matters.
SOP Ballantyne emphasized that responding to today's challenges requires a shift in mindset and purpose. He also challenged participants to engage with more difficult questions, not just what should be done when a witness is threatened, but why so many witnesses live in fear. He stressed that witness protection must go beyond relocating someone to a safe house. It must include building a justice culture in which testifying does not require a person to live in exile.
As police officers, prosecutors, social workers, and administrators, we are steward of something bigger than legal cases. We are guardians of the very belief that wrongs can be made right, that the voiceless can be heard, that justice does not just work for the system, it works through the system for the people. Let us not forget, witnesses are not just helpers of justice. They are holders of the truth. And if we fail to care for them, we fail to protect the truth itself. I want to commend the organizers, Director of Public Prosecution's Office of All Right 2025, for anchoring this event in purpose, not only in procedure or process, Madam DPP. I encourage all participants to look beyond the policies and ask, what kind of justice system are we building?
Facilitator of the two-day workshop, Kerry Waterman, the Director of Policing and Risk Management with the Regional Security Systems, the RSS, based in Barbados, told participants that as partners and guardians of justice in the region, they are constantly reminded that the strength of any criminal justice system is not measured solely by its laws or enforcement agencies, but by how well it protects and empowers those who place their trust in it, namely the witnesses.
Often witnesses, whether victims, bystanders, or vulnerable members of our communities, are treated as if they are mere tools for evidence rather than as human beings with fears, needs, and rights. This approach must change. Here in St. Vincent, like many other of our small island nations, the challenges are unique. We've got close-knit communities, we've got limited anonymity, and heightened risks of intimidation. These realities demand tailored strategies, empathy-driven communication, and coordinated protection frameworks. I've worked with St. Vincent and the Grenadines on your witness protection programs. And believe me, I understand how hard it is, to manage our victims and witnesses sometimes. When you want to move someone to somewhere safe, to protect them, and they're thinking, but if I move here, then I'm not going to be able to go out with my friends, or I'm not going to be able to party. They're not worried about the fact that there are suspects out there who want to kill them. They're more concerned about the fact that they're not going to see their friends, that they're not going to be able to go to this party and that party. So I feel your pain. I speak from both sides. Every one of you here, whether from law enforcement, prosecution, social services, support agencies, you play a critical role in shaping the witness experience. This workshop is not just about technical knowledge, it's about transformational practice.
Waterman noted that through targeted exercises, participants would have the opportunity to simulate real-life scenarios and to develop actionable witness care plans aimed at improving support structures within the justice system.
We want to make sure that witness care does not exist in isolation, but is embedded in our institutional structures and sustained through policy and oversight. I can assure you of the RSS's ongoing commitment to witness care and to training. We are going to make sure that we strengthen witness care and protection in our region, and we will safeguard those who speak up, because without them, justice cannot speak at all. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you've taken bold steps in justice reform and victim support, and you have the opportunity to lead by example And this workshop is just another meaningful step in that direction.
The workshop concluded today at the NIS conference room. The Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, the SVG-PF, has launched an investigation into the circumstances surrounding an officer-involved shooting that resulted in the death of a man identified as Ashley Lohman of Sandhill Spring Village. According to the SVG-PF, preliminary investigations indicates that around 9:55 p.m. on Monday, April 21st, 2025, police responded to a report of a burglary made by a resident of Spring Village who reported an intruder inside his home. Upon arrival, officers observed that the house was secured from the inside and showed visible signs of forced entry through a broken window. The police reported that officers made contact with Ashley Lohman, who was inside the residence, and instructed him to exit. During the subsequent encounter, Lohman reportedly became aggressive, armed himself with 2 knives, and inflicted an injury to the hand of one of the responding officers. In an effort to prevent further harm, an officer discharged his firearm, striking Lohman. He was immediately transported to the Chateaubriand Hospital, where he was pronounced dead by the attending physician at approximately 11:38 p.m. The injured officer received medical treatment and is reported to be in stable condition. Personnel from the crime scene unit processed the scene and recovered several items of evidential value. The SVG Police Force says the matter is under active investigation and is being reviewed by the relevant authorities in accordance with established procedures. The Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force has extended condolences to the immediate family and friends of the deceased and has emphasized that it is conducting a thorough and impartial investigation into the circumstances surrounding the incident, and anyone with information that may assist in the investigation is encouraged to contact the nearest police station, the Criminal Investigations Department, Major Crimes Unit, or Police Control. Activities to mark Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month continued today with a church service held at the Kingstown Seventh-day Adventist Church. Addressing the congregation, Minister responsible for National Mobilization and Gender Affairs, Honorable Kisal Peters, emphasized that children facing abuse are not hidden in far-off places. They live among us, in our homes, schools, churches, and communities. Yet, too often, their cries go unheard.
Their suffering is unseen and their innocence is stolen. Not by strangers only, but by those who were meant to protect them. This is why we are here. This is why Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month is not just another observance, it is a holy calling, a sacred responsibility entrusted to us, especially to us who walk in the light of Christ. Our theme says it plainly. Children are our priority. Protect them so their future becomes a reality. It is a declaration, but it must also be a decision, one we make with our hearts, our voices, and our hands.
Minister Peters further told the gathering that while the government can pass laws, create shelters, and implement programs as it is currently doing, there is a deeper, more spiritual intervention that only the people of God can provide.
They can intercede, stand in the gap, create a culture of compassion, and speak out when silence has become too normal. So today, as Minister with responsibility for children, I want to say thank you for the work that you are already doing. To every Sabbath and Sunday school teacher who sees and listens, to every pastor who counsels behind closed doors, and to every member who prays for children that they have never met. Your role matters more than you know, but today I will ask you to do a little bit more. We need every voice raised, every prayer whispered, and every message echoed from every pulpit and every platform to remind our communities that a child's tears are heaven's heartbreak.
Minister Peter stressed that protecting children is not only a social responsibility, but also a spiritual obligation, calling on the faith-based community to play a greater role in safeguarding the nation's youth.
Let the church be the place where every child feels safe, where abuse is confronted and not concealed, where healing begins and where hope is reborn. Let our love be loud. Let our faith be active. Let our God-given duty be fulfilled, because when we protect a child, we protect the future. We honor our God and we help build a nation that reflects the kingdom of heaven. May God continue to bless us all, and may He bless our wonderful little children, and may He move through this church with power, and compassion, now more than ever.
Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month 2025 is being observed under the theme, Children Are Our Priority. Protect them so their future becomes a reality. Initiatives aimed at addressing housing issues in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl will not be completed before the upcoming elections. This is according to Prime Minister Dr. Afghan Saus, who said on NBC Radio yesterday that individuals who are able to help themselves are advised to do so in the meantime.
I'm told that we have already addressed over 3,500 houses out of the close to 6,000. That is the government itself. Individuals have done things for themselves too. So we have made a big dent, and this will make a further big dent. We're not going to finish everything in the housing before the elections this year. 6,000 is a big number, you know. A little more than halfway, but we have some serious ones now to do. I want to ask on the part of everybody reasonableness and work with us. If you can help yourself, help yourself.
Prime Minister Gonsalves explained that due to a shortage of workers, the rebuilding process is taking longer than anticipated. He urged individuals with relevant skills to reach out to the authorities to assist in speeding up the recovery efforts.
I have to build houses and repair with money, you know. And I have to have workmen and women. That's why I had to get some Romanians. That's why I had to get some Guyanese. And I would like to get more people from elsewhere to help me, because I just don't have enough workers. And anybody who hear me talking again, contractors, workers, please come forth. Go to housing.
The Prime Minister also used the opportunity to call on citizens to be patient and to contact the relevant agencies if they notice a lack of progress in their communities.
Don't, if they ain't reach you yet, don't sulk. If the assessors don't reach you at all, tell me. Tell Miranda Brewster, make a report by Angie, go and make a report by the Ministry of Housing. Don't stay inside of your house and let this thing fester and just gripe. Because you gripe, you might get colic. Don't just let me solve the problem. And I tell people, I said, oh, don't complain. We have a problem, let me solve it now. Let me don't cause confusion.
On Tuesday, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines signed an agreement to procure 300 prefabricated houses from Steel Frame Engineering Solution Limited, a company based in Trinidad and Tobago. The agreement forms part of the ongoing efforts to rebuild homes for those affected by Hurricane Beryl in July of last year. In other news, a two-day validation workshop was held recently, bringing together stakeholders from the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Fisheries, Rural Transformation, Industry and Labor, as well as other government agencies and non-governmental organizations or NGOs. The workshop held in collaboration with the World Bank focused on critical tasks reviewing the National Food Security Crisis Preparedness Plan. Acting in the capacity of Chairman, Rutenville Harper explained that the process was initiated in 2024 and resulting in the drafting of a comprehensive document. He noted that the current workshop was designed to validate the draft with input from stakeholders before it is forwarded to Cabinet for approval and ratification. Chief Agricultural Officer Renato Gomes emphasized the importance of data in establishing clear criteria for determining when and why a situation should be officially declared a food crisis. He noted that accurate data is essential for informed, timely responses.
And what basically we are doing here, we are coming up with a methodology to determine when we get to that point. Now, the thing about methodology, you can always apply them in your personal life, and you might want to look at it to see if you have a crisis in your personal life, because the only thing you're going to do is change the kind of data you're collecting. So we are here to come up with a methodology, and that methodology is to remove the subjectivity that anyone could, on his own relation, just come and say, boy, we're in a crisis, and the others don't agree. So if you have an instrument that determines when we declare a crisis, it will save all of us the trouble. The thing is, I haven't had a good set of sleep last night because anytime we mention the word data, I get an anxiety attack. Around here, Debbie would tell you the issues me and her always have when it comes to data. Data informs decisions. And if your data is not up to standard, your decision will be even worse than the data you use to come up with a decision. So we have to ensure we get that aspect of data correct. Data, science is based on data. Really. It might be qualitative, quantitative, however.
Representing the World Bank, senior agricultural economist with Winston Dawes expressed that the institution hopes the Ministry of Agriculture will fully embrace the plan as a nationally owned initiative. He further shared that similar processes are being carried out in other Caribbean countries with the aim of strengthening regional food security frameworks.
The validation, so we'll be having an opportunity to review the plan, get your input, and part of it is when we wanted to get confirmation on certain aspects, around certain definitions of what constitutes food crisis. Talk about the triggers in terms of the indicators, just to confirm that these are what you agree to, these are what are relevant and country specific. When I mention country specific, I wanted just to let you know that these plans are not only being prepared in St. Vincent and Grenadines. We're doing this in a few other OEC countries, in Grenada, in Dominica, St. Lucia. We're also actually preparing one for Haiti. So this is not a one-off or a unique plan. It's something that the bank, in supporting the countries, figured that it's important that you have a plan for a more long-term vision in able to address food security crisis, because we know there will be crisis. It's not a matter of if there's one, it's a matter of when. And therefore the question is, how are you going to be prepared? What's the process in which you're going to have implemented? What's the protocols you have? And how can you better respond and be more resilient to it? So it's really not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. Question is, how can we better respond? And I think, so this is what this is all about. One of the good things I wanted to point out is that, many times countries get support from development partners. We have helped you up to this point. I wanted, and I mentioned this to the PS before, is that we want to help not just in the development of the plan, but we want to stay with you and work with you, at least to get you on the implementation phase for another year or so, to just get you going, to ensure that this is not just a a working document, but it's a document that is implementable. It's a document that it has relevance and not just a report that sits on a shelf. And I think this is where we want to make sure that it's valid. So we have a validation workshop of a valid plan that is implementable and that is of value to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Permanent Secretary within the Ministry, Cuthbert Knights, delivered the keynote address referencing the 1996 World Food Summit's definition of food security, which emphasizes not only the availability of food, but also the necessity for it to be physically and economically accessible to all people at all times.
In a very summary way, he said that for there to be food security, not some, but all people, not sometimes, all times, have not only but economic access, not just to any food, but to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food in order to meet their dietary needs and food preferences. Why is that important? We must have a healthy life. And for that to happen, as we said, there must be the availability of this food. Not only must the food be available, but you must have access to it. And access can be hindered by a number of things: economics, geography, etc. Even if you have food and you don't have access to it, that's the challenge. Persons must have access to it, they must be available, and they should be able to use the food because they have to consume it in some shape or fashion. And stability, you must not have it sometimes, but you must be able to have access to food.